What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to the Nintendo Open Air podcast once again. Tonight we're going to start off with a recurring segment, Running Scarce. What Nintendo can't seem to get on the shelf this week. And of course, the big thing that's going on lately is the Super NES Classic. A lot of pre-orders went up on Walmart, and I think pretty much everybody I know that wanted one pre-ordered through Walmart, and then boom, they canceled them all. So some people are thinking, it's Walmart's fault. Some people think it's Nintendo. What do you guys think?
I blame Nintendo.
Yeah.
By default. Because I'm sure somebody just accidentally, they all have to make like a splash page, for the system, and somebody accidentally hit to go live. But I mean, unfortunately, you would think it would make sense that you could have so many pre-orders and that would tell the company, hey, we need to make this many at least. So they probably were just told, don't, you're going to have to cancel all of those and pull the page.
Yeah. I think it was definitely from Nintendo telling them to pull it. I don't think it was Walmart realizing, oh, we've maybe made a mistake. I think it definitely came from NOA or whoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, what does Walmart care when they do the pre-orders? Like, hey, they've already got somebody committed to buying something. They're not going to complain. It had to be about a street date and them breaking it.
And it could also be about the number of pre-orders have exceeded what their stock was going to be.
Yeah, but then they would it seems like they just canceled across the board, and that would be a selective cancel, I would think.
Yeah,
right.
It does. It sucks for the people that pre-ordered. And it would be nice if Nintendo was like, I'll tell you what, go ahead and fulfill those pre-orders and we'll give you this many more.
But at the same time, you kind of see, is Target or another store going to pick up next week? And it's like, oops, we did the same thing, They kind of have to draw a line at some point, I think. And I think they have to be pretty firm with retailers.
Yeah, although there's not really much in it for Walmart. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, I'm just going there to pre-order my Super NES Classic, but I'll add these paper towels.
Right.
I figure most of the people that are going there are just going for that one thing. And their margin's probably not that great on it, I bet. But so, I don't know. But you could tell it was a mistake because I think all the retailers would have went, pretty much at the same time. When it didn't happen the next day, I was like, something might be up. Because you'd expect them all to go, with the Switch, didn't they all pretty much go up at the same time?
Yeah, I think all the major ones did.
Yeah.
There were a couple holdouts.
Yeah.
So Nintendo released that statement.
That went up the next day. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I said they released that statement earlier saying that pre-orders are going to happen by the end of August. So that makes me think they've probably coordinated with retailers to say this is the first day you can allow, just like they have with embargoes and stuff on reviews. They probably said this is the first day you can allow pre-orders, and I'm sure everyone will probably do it within that day.
Yeah, it's just like a release date. Nintendo's got to manage this stuff better, or I already had it. I don't care. I don't know why on the note of stuff we can't get, right? I know we're going to talk about accessories next week, but right, I had to order the pink and green Joy-Cons off of Amazon UK because they just wouldn't have them here. And it wasn't like there seemed to be any stock shortage in the UK. It doesn't, it seems like they're doing this stuff on purpose just to make it a game. And I think that's what they think people want. But no, at the end of the day, I just want to buy your stuff and play your games, and play your actual video games, not play your little commercial marketing games. I'm not down for that.
You don't really hear like PlayStation and Xbox gamers like, oh, did you hear Xbox has got a new controller coming out? God, I hope I can get one.
Mm-hmm.
True, exactly.
Oh, every once in a while, there's some rare something, I think. But it's only rare. It's only rare because it's expensive, I think. You know what I mean?
But they're doing an intentional limited edition, whereas Nintendo, everything is limited edition, it seems.
Yeah. It's and again, if I were to tweet them or whatever, I would just say I'm not buying this until you let me buy the first one. Sorry. Not interested.
Yeah, I wondered if they should run another batch of those for this Christmas and just sell them side by side. It's not like it's going to hurt anything. I'm kind of scared now though, because I did pre-order the Metroid Amiibo from Walmart. Still waiting to get an email where they tell me that it's not going to happen.
I won't get far enough to care about the content and unlocks, but it is a really cool. And I honestly wish there was just a Metroid, not a Metroid coming out of a jar.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
me too.
Just a Metroid, please.
When it was a Smash trophy, I was like, that would be a perfect Amiibo right there. Just It's basically just a little action figure that they released, the little 4-inch one or whatever. Just give me that on a base.
Yeah, you'll just have to make your own custom.
Yeah, I'm sure people have done it already. I mean, they've probably done it with that other one.
Mm-hmm.
Once those come out, all you got to do is just rip the figure off of the base and then glue this thing to the base, and bam, you got a custom Amiibo on eBay, son.
Well, as soon as the ROM of the NFC chip is available, right, then you don't even need the base.
That's right. You just scan them in. They're coming on cards, right? For the various Amiibo. Or am I thinking of something else?
Well, there's the little chips that I was talking about on Amazon that you can buy, right, with the little burners and readers.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it with, there's like an action replay, something that power saves or something, where I think you can save your Amiibo data to like these little things.
Yeah, you can clone your, yeah, they usually they come with like 5 chips or something, and you can buy extra chips, but yeah, you can just burn and reburn fake Amiibos basically, and people just share the ROMs online now, so you can so if there's an Amiibo you can't get but you want it to unlock something, it's apparently not too hard to do.
And people were selling Breath of the Wild ones on eBay. That was like a huge deal that you could just buy a pack of just the whole Breath of the Wild set, but it was still something crazy. I think like $20 or $30, so it was like still kind of crazy. But they were like, here, if you want that set and you can't get that set because it's day 2.
Yeah, no, and it's the cost up front, I think, is the cost of 3 or 4 Amiibos, thereabouts. So it's not too unreasonable, but there is enough of an upfront cost to be a little bit of a deterrent. But that seems like something Nintendo's probably not terribly concerned about, because people are buying them for the figures and they know it in most cases.
Or sometimes just for the scarcity reason. You know, they're hard to get. I got to buy them.
Yeah, I'm sure they made more money off of that. You know, I don't think Amiibos would even be a thing if it wasn't for how scarce they were at the beginning. Unfortunately, that seems to be, and in my idea, that's, you know, they wouldn't have taken off if it hadn't been in the news that you can't get them, and then they oversold them and people overbought them, thinking, you know, they're sending the kid to college on googly-eyed villager figures.
And then, did anyone anticipate the scarcity on the Hey Pikmin Amiibo?
No.
No, I don't really know though, because I ordered, I almost said pre-ordered. I ordered one today from Amazon, which just has them in stock. I have noticed, so I haven't seen one actually in person yet, but like Best Buy, Walmart, some other stores were saying like you can pre-order it and it'll be in next week. Although my Best Buy now says no stores near you, but there is a store within 250 miles that has one left. But yeah, I don't know if each store just got one or what.
Could it be an actual, you know, like a manufacturing problem and something legit, the reason they're not on the shelves? I mean,
doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
No.
You'd figure they'd ironed all that stuff out.
And even
the
if
Alamar one works for it.
For every one time that it is a legitimate problem, there's 20 times it wasn't. So, you know what I mean? How do you know
Yeah.
which one? How do you know which one's the real one? They've just cried wolf too many times. I don't, you know what I mean? So even if, oh, sure, well, okay, sure, you have a real excuse this time. I don't care. It shouldn't. This should be the one time then, not all the other times.
Especially with that being the game that's now out on the displays. Like the displays have all switched to the new 2DS XL now, and Pikmin's the game that they're running as a promo. It's like it's weird that you would lock content and then not have the product available on the shelves that is needed to unlock it.
You really need that product there too when people come to buy the game, or especially if they're buying the game and the system. They need to be able to just reach over and put that in a cart with them, whether it's online or in the store, before they get the game and realize it's totally pointless. I don't need this. So talking about Amiibo in general, I just wanted to bring this up. I went to TRU recently, and there are literally shelves after shelves after shelves of Amiibo. Do you think that it's kind of hitting its end, and if Nintendo doesn't lock some things away behind the wall, they're not going to sell them? It's going to fizzle out and go away?
Well, the other end of it is like Target. My Target has a couple of Animal Crossing Amiibo left, but they're not really stocking a whole bunch of new stuff. They had a couple Bayonettas and Corns, and the Best Buy around here was the same, where the only ones that seemed to have a ton of them were Toys R Us, and I don't know if it's just that they buy in some way that they can't return unsold stuff, because they've got so much stuff, and even the Disney Infinities, like they're doing like buy one get four free on some of those, just trying to get those off the shelf. So maybe they just overbuy stuff, but I mean they've still got Yarn Yoshis, and it's all old stuff. They don't have the new stuff. It's all the old stock. They were doing something on Animal Crossing like buy one get two free.
I think Infinity's a special case. I think everybody probably bought big on that because it was Disney's, and then Disney just kind of yanked the rug out from under them on it.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too, but that's like one of their other toys to life. I don't know what their Skylanders look like. But.
I would bet though that you're basically correct, Jason. That they're experimenting with new things now because they're seeing the sales curve, right? And they know they're at the end of it. They know it's dying off, and they know it's. I think they might. I don't know. I guess not. Amiibo are going to be around like motion controls are around, I guess. Right? Nintendo will never fully abandon them because they were a hit at the time, right? So they'll play them for nostalgia 20 years from now.
Well, they could do a card collection. They could sell a deck for $20 that's like the original 12 Smash Brothers as cards for $20, and somebody would buy them. I mean, before when the figures stop selling, I bet you it'll still exist for a little while in a card form.
How big did those get? Like, did that expand beyond Animal Crossing? Everyone expected that like they were somehow gonna merge the Pokemon card game and the Amiibo cards, and that just never seemed to pan out. Of course, we all thought Pokemon Snap would have been a perfect fit for the Wii U, but like everybody on the planet said, "Hey, when is Pokemon Snap coming out?" When that thing launched. But sorry, go ahead, Mo.
They did a set for the 3DS Super Mario Sports Superstar or whatever it is on 3DS, the sports game that just recently in the last 6 months launched. Right. There's cards for that. I don't know what they do, but I know it has its set of Amiibo cards because they probably figured sports themed Amiibo were just too soon, I guess.
I wonder if
anyone would buy them.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't know how big the Animal Crossing Amiibo cards went over. I mean, I know people that, collected them pretty faithfully, but, we're pretty dedicated fans. I don't know how well they sold compared to having actual figures on the shelf that people want to, put on a shelf and look at.
They were expensive, I thought.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I thought they were very expensive.
The cards.
Yeah, for blind packs. Yeah, for blind packs where I've probably got 2 or 3 of the same card. I bought them for a little while and then couldn't do it anymore.
I bought
just like,
2 packs ever.
Yeah. You're smarter to just go on eBay and buy the cards you want
Mm-hmm.
if you really care.
I got the alternate color amiibo, or alternate color Isabel amiibo card version. So to me, that saved me. Basically, it was a wash. I bought 2 cards for were they $5 a piece?
$5.99 for a pack.
Yeah, and we didn't get the 20% off, did we? I got them on some kind of deal though.
I had to buy mine at Toys R Us because like my Best Buy didn't even really stock them. Like once those new Amiibo cards came out, the whatever I'm gonna call it the Trailer Park Edition, RV Edition, I think. I don't think Best Buy even got them in my area. Toys R Us was like the only one. And I think Target had a couple, but Toys R Us did have more than anybody else, and they still probably do.
I guess that was another thing you kind of hit on there. There were so many series of them, and they come out so quickly. So
yeah,
you would have to invest some serious cash to finish all the sets.
Yeah, they went pretty hard on Animal Crossing. Like I think they know because there's the type of person that likes Animal Crossing is a collecting type, I guess. So they were just like, we're gonna make $1 billion, but yeah, there's gonna be so many of those Amiibo left around. It's gonna be like the shelves were stocked with Jar Jar Binks episode 1 figures for like a year after the movie had come out. That's gonna be those Animal Crossing. They're just gonna be there forever.
Okay. Here's a question. 151 original Pokemon as Amiibo or as cards, which would you rather see and not be able to buy? Because
I mean, cards would make sense, but Amiibo, they would make money. I mean, somebody out there is going to collect that. I mean, there's guaranteed sales in it. The problem is there's going to be some Pokemon. Maybe they should do cards for some and figures for others, because there's some Pokemon that no one's going to buy an Amiibo of, I'm sure.
That if it's broken up like that, if it's a set where only some of them are Amiibo and some of them are cards, that will turn off a certain breed of collector, because I know, because I would be one of those that would turn me off.
The gotta catch 'em all community, basically, which is the tagline for the game.
I would assume.
What if they did legendaries as figures and then everything else as cards?
Nah. That still wouldn't fly.
Do you guys remember the first actual Amiibo War Pokemon for the Pokemon Rumble game on
Is that for Wii?
Yeah. Never got those. Did you?
No, I've never seen one in person, and last time I checked, they were still selling for around $50 online. So
we had a Kmart that's went under, but it had some of them.
Anyone ever get any of those Skylanders? I had a friend that did. They got the Donkey Kong. I never did.
No.
I thought
she had a kid though, so like she had a kid just at the right age range, so it was her excuse to pick it up.
I know some people that got like all the Skylanders for their kids.
Yeah, those are probably a good pickup for. I wonder what eBay prices are on the Nintendo Skylanders, since there was only 2, right? And you had to buy the game on each system to get the 2.
You know what? I heard they were later released separately.
I thought I'd seen them separately in store.
Yeah, I remember seeing that a few months ago. I think they were later released separately. Actually, several months ago, at least now.
Into last year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That one skipped my radar.
I think if you was talking about going with the Pokemon and producing a 151, I think the first thing is they'd have to have a base price reduction, a greatly reduced price, $12.99.
Yeah, I'd agree. Half that then we'd be talking.
Maybe even make smaller figures. Whatever would make them cheaper.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Mini.
Yeah, I mean they don't need to be that big for the NFC, and it's right. There's like with Skylanders, there's a specific sized base that they all fit. In this case, there isn't. You're just shoving it on the Joy-Con of the Switch or just on the screen of the 3DS. So there's really not, that's an arbitrary little disc size that they're using. The chips themselves aren't that big. And, if there's associated, I haven't opened one up, but if there's associated circuitry in there that necessitates it being that large, I guarantee you over the past few years, it's significantly smaller. And again, they're putting them on cards for, it can be done a half size amiibo for like $5 or $6. I'm sorry, Nintendo, I'd have to give you more money. Yes.
And to
Yeah,
get rid of,
luckily, I don't have Poke Fever.
and to kind of touch on what Mo was saying about certain undesirable Pokemon. If you look at Pokemon Go, they made a Pokemon like Grimer extremely rare. So everybody's clamoring for one. As soon as one comes out, boom, you got to go find that thing. And at least it was. And I think they could do the same thing with the undesirable. Suddenly, you really got to have that Grimer,
Rayquaza Hat Pikachu.
Well, like what they did with Marth, right? The Fire Emblem was not as big of a name at the time. It was like, oh, it's this anime swordsman from this game I've sort of heard of for a lot of people. And then, of course, he was the super rare one, right? Compared to Mario, compared to Link, and even the Wii Fit U trainer, right? Marth was pretty obscure. So yeah, they know they've figured out this game a long time ago. And I'll say, since the wife did, collected the little painted Mickeys, those things. Sometimes done by famous artists and stuff. They have little designs on a little Mickey figure, Mickey Mouse, and so she's got a whole bunch of those. And Disney was masterful at that. There were certain Mickeys you could only buy at each of the various Disneyland resorts or whatever. Like there's that hotel they have in Hawaii. There's a certain Mickey you can only get at that hotel. And, she would go wait in line for certain rare releases and all that kind of stuff, and if the line was too huge, she wouldn't do it. But it was, you know what I mean? It's like when the Amiibo thing started, I had already kind of watched this before, so I kind of knew how this game worked. And so I think I did okay in terms of securing stuff at a reasonable price. But yeah, I'm just tired of it now, and it shouldn't extend to their entire product line.
Nintendo will be the next adopter of the Vault system.
Which is?
Like, how Disney will lock their movies away in the vault. Like, you can't get this movie for 7 years, and then they release it. Super Mario World is coming out of the vault.
You nailed it, man. That's something that's been in the back of my mind for a while. No, that exact thing. Because I remember that. It was back in the VHS days. They would even
They're
have
still
the
doing
TV
it.
commercials. Do they? I remember the TV commercials. This will be your last chance to get Cinderella or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they still do it. You'll learn pretty soon as the kids come out. You got to play. Lion King's coming out of the vault. It hasn't been out for years.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're just gonna have to live with my crappy old VHS copies for a while. Because I
could
ended
let
up with
Lion
a fair
King for
amount
Super
of that
NES.
stuff.
See, they could have done that with the Super NES coming out. They could have done Lion King for the Super NES coming out on the vault.
That would be a licensing nightmare. I have the Lion King on my Atari Lynx. That's a heck of a game, even on the Lynx.
A lot of people love that game. They loved it on Genesis, as well.
Yeah.
But talking about putting games in a vault, hasn't Nintendo already done that with Star Fox 2 on this Super NES Classic?
Well,
in a way,
an unreleased game kind of it fits in its own category, I think. Disney. I don't know of anything that Disney's ever said, "Hey, this is unreleased. Here you go." I'm sure there's been something, but at least not that I remember. Disney has like unreleased things after the fact, right? Like Song of the South.
Yeah.
I had no idea Tar Baby meant anything when I was a kid. I had no clue.
I didn't either.
But I remember I had a little book and tape of that when I was a kid, and I remember the pictures. And looking back at it, it's like, oh God, that's terrible.
Hashtag not okay.
It's just, and it's it's everyone's like when you go like if you watch has everyone seen Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yeah.
No,
I
was it
have
Breakfast
not.
at Tiffany's? It was oh, I'm blanking out. The most horrible racist Asian played by a white man.
Oh, where
Rooney
Mickey Rooney, yeah.
is the Asian neighbor, and it's just like, and you just watch it now,
Yeah.
and you just go, "How was this ever acceptable?" I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny now.
Lucky
because
for
it's funny in
Nintendo.
a completely different way than it was funny back then. You know what I mean? You kind of
Luckily for
laugh in
Nintendo,
horror
Punch
at
Out was as bad as it got
it. What
that
like
we know of.
Nintendo Punch Out?
Yeah, but they're not making any apologies.
There was I mean, there was the dude with the turban, but he wasn't like, aside from being magic and liking tigers.
Yeah, see? Think about it.
It wasn't particularly stereotypical.
Not okay. They got a French guy who's kind of a puss.
That's true.
I guess they didn't give Von Kaiser a swastika tattoo, but they did give him the curly mustache.
Yeah, he was like the Red Baron. Whatever. That is what it is. Yeah, I mean,
and the original arcade version had pizza pasta. The Italian, could you guess?
but they had already by the time that you're right, by the time that came out on NES, they'd already kind of staked on Mario, and it's like, well, you don't want people. Hey, I'm beating up Mario.
and Vodka Drunkinsky was the other one that became Soda Popensky.
Oh, I forgot about
He was Russian.
I know, but you know what?
Yeah.
That stereotype is still kind of okay these days. We have
because it's all white.
Well, no, just because we have dash cam footage all over YouTube to prove it.
Yeah, they are pretty crazy drivers.
It's not really a stereotype. It's just a thing.
Way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they could someday. I'm waiting for them to go back, and I don't know that they'll ever get there. Japan's got a whole different culture. They don't have to apologize for anything, really.
I don't know, man. There's some civil unrest over there. But you're right. It's Japan is a society that seems to have long ago agreed to be governed in a way that most people don't.
It's definitely an interesting country. Different culture for sure.
And it's their weird OCD attention to detail mantra is A, why the games are so good, and B, why that would be the only airline I fly around to Asia.
Yeah, they make good stuff. I mean, like I said, Nintendo sets so many high standards. As much as they set these low standards, it's like there's never. I mean, Nintendo will delay a game. They'll just release a broken game and patch it later. Nintendo's good at it. In fact, somebody was saying Splatoon 2 that they said they fixed every problem with the first one, which I couldn't think of too many. But here's one problem they did not fix. You can skip Sheldon talking. You can fast forward Sheldon talking. You should be able to skip, but not the Squid Sisters or whoever these new
Marina
monsters are. The off the hook gang.
I hate them. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why that was necessary. Jason, have you beat the single player yet?
I have.
Does Callie come back or something? What happens?
You want me to spoil the whole thing? Because I mean, it's not revealed until the very last boss fight.
She's coming back. She'll be there.
Does
Let's
anyone
It'd be
care?
awesome.
Here's what I want to
Kicked
find
out
out.
the other girls.
Here's what I want to find out, and I already know the answer to it, and it depresses me. But I'm going to ask anyway to confirm it. Did they replace Marina and Pearl?
No.
Okay, then
Like
I
the,
don't care.
like the Zap
Then I don't
fish
care.
coming back.
I want them. I want them. If you beat the single player, that's the only thing that would motivate me to beat the single.
It's like the Zap fish being back on the tower. Like all of a sudden, you've just got Callie and Marie at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and Marina and Pearl can just be like sitting in the foreground, like looking dejected. Because
I thought they would just unzip themselves from their forehead down, and it would be Callie and Marie in different suits.
that would be even better.
That was my dream.
That'd be awesome.
That would be good.
Because why an Octarian? Sorry, go ahead, Max.
One thing you do get from clearing the single player is the ability to use their amiibo. If you have the Callie and Marie amiibo from the previous
What do they
game,
get you?
you get a set of clothes, the hero clothing.
Are they good?
They're okay. They're pretty much like they were in the other games. I mean,
So,
different levels
okay.
of armor.
So I scanned the 3 OG amiibos. I got a helmet. I got the original helmets from the old amiibos. That was it. So
You have to play.
Huh?
You have to play more and then scan them again.
Mm.
I don't know the details on that. I scanned mine the next day, and they give me the rest of the clothes, and I think they give you a song.
Well, they better give me something now. I'm at like level 17.
But I scanned Kelly and Marie, I think, at level 20, and they just give me the headgear, and then I don't know, I tried the next day, and it told me I needed to play more, and then it was a few days later, and I tried it again, I think maybe around level 23, and they gave me the rest of it.
Told you we'd start talking about Splatoon.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a couple days. My poor internet got me another warning, and I just said, I'm just gonna play Pikmin on 3DS.
Oh, you know what? And related to Splatoon was one of our actual topics. That only 17% of Switch owners have downloaded the app by download percentages.
That's right.
We all downloaded it, right?
I think Mo's the only one that didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't?
What percentage? No. What percentage of Nintendo fans that would own the Switch this early on would actually have a cell phone?
Okay.
Like, you know,
I would say
we're technologically behind the times.
I don't know, because anything that you got to stand in line for, I could see. I think there's enough gadget freaks among the Nintendo fan community that yeah.
Yeah, but I think most people probably don't go as in depth as we do. They don't really know or care about Splatnet. They just hear dumb voice chat. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Now going back to the 75% of us on here that did download it, how many times? Okay, other than to just look at Splatnet, which most reviews say is great, and we use. I mean, it's just kind of neat, if for no other reason, to go just check out your own stats. It'd be nice if you could see friends and all that kind of stuff, which hopefully it'll get there. But I mean, I haven't touched the voice chat. I haven't used any sort of Playdate BS. I haven't, again, if I see a friend on Splatoon, like if I'm in my friend list and I see, someone's playing Splatoon, I should just be able to tap on that friend and join them. And again, other consoles have had this now for 2 generations. This is just no excuse for this.
Yeah, even the 3DS, like if you're looking at your friends list and someone's playing Mario Kart 7, you can push something to join you for their race.
I seem to be very limited. I think I've only seen that come up a few times, but it still was there.
Yeah, it was a feature that I don't know if they ever did that on Wii U or not. Very much, but it was just something you could do. It's weird how functionally all of Nintendo's systems work so much different from one another.
Yeah, it's every single one of them. It's like they start from scratch.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah.
In this case, they really had to get on a platform that would function with, you know, what people wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, even like creature comforts, like that's probably the wrong term, but you know, like on the 3DS, you can change the size of your icons. Like that should be an
That
option. Folders should be an option.
Yeah, no, totally. Changing
Backgrounds.
your layout. I hate the big. That was the first thing I always changed on the 3DS and the DS was the big scrolling icons. I
Yeah.
would, I want it all on a nice menu, all on the screen at once. Why is that a problem here? Other than to scroll all the way to the end and then get it that way, that's not a solution.
I don't know. We've talked about that so many times. I can't believe that it's taken as long as it is for them to do something as simple as give me. Even if you could go to My Nintendo and instead of getting a JPEG, you could get a new background for your Switch. Like that's still a JPEG, but for some reason it would make me happier.
Yeah.
And somehow I would be happy to pay gold coins for that.
Well, it's because the Switch is so bland. You need something
Yeah.
there. It's basically a black screen with huge icons. So
And the only reason it's black is because we changed it from the white one just
That's
to get
right.
something different.
That's right.
Like even the 3DS now, I think comes stock with like pink and blue, and you know they even have a handful of colors. It's just black and white, like everything else on the Switch. Monochrome and boring.
Since we're talking about the Switch, I guess we could pick up on another topic was the recent update. And I think it went out live last night on Monday night. But if you haven't looked into it, it's to fix the battery meter displaying incorrectly. Which I don't think any of us has had that problem, right?
Not that I've noticed it's, but I do notice that it seems like mine drains really quick, but that might not be related to this. But it is an interesting list of hoops for people to jump through and repeatedly jump through and repeatedly jump through until they finally fix the timer through a complex bunch of things that you have to physically do and wait in real time to happen to drain your battery and fill it back up.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. You're taking 3 or 4 hours to fully expend the battery, and then you've got to wait 3 or 4 hours to fully charge it, and then basically repeat that over and over until it fixes itself, which is crazy.
And it's every bit as convoluted as their phone chat, setup.
It's a 7-step process. If you go to Nintendo's support site, it is a 7-step process just to get through it. And I'd say it would take at least a week.
And then doesn't it say repeat steps 2 through 6?
Yeah. You have to repeat the steps over and over. It just says several times, which is a scary thought. Which is like,
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Eventually it'll be okay. Yeah, it's a lot to do. Like I said, it's reminiscent to me of when the left Joy-Con thing started happening, and they were saying, "Get it away from the fish tank, get it away from your router."
I had that conversation with their tech support, one of their tech support people, and before he said, "You have." He started with the list, and you know what I mean. I had already seen the list online, so he started at the top of it, and as soon
Are
as
you
he
on
said,
a houseboat, sir?
"You have a stone floor," and I was like, "No," and I just read off the rest of the list. No, I don't have this. I don't have an aquarium in my. I don't have. A
How
metal
much sunlight do
frame
you get in that
couch.
room?
Yes, and I said, yes, I do have a Wi-Fi router in the room, but if I turn that off, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that means they really didn't know at first that it was their problem.
Yeah,
They were hoping it wasn't their problem.
The
They
Joy-Con.
just had a bunch of people go, I moved it away from the fish tank, and it seems to have solved the problem. They're like, ooh, good, write that one down too.
No, it was just, hey, excuses. What can cause radio interference? A fish tank nearby. I like to say, you know what I mean? It was 5 people sat in a room and wrote up ideas on a whiteboard, and that became the excuse of why it wasn't working.
Do you have a lot of chicken wire around?
Yeah. Do you have bales of chicken wire stacked behind your couch? But the frustrating thing is this gray Joy-Con that I need to now return because it doesn't lock onto the Switch. I realized just the other day in messing around with it that it seems to also have the signal problem. So I bought it early. And I had already returned another set for it. So now it's like, do I call him back and say, hey, while you're at it, or do I even bother? I don't think I'm going to bother.
Have you sent it in yet?
No, I've been lagging. I need to get it done.
Might as well pour it on. Get them to fix everything. They'll probably tell you that send it to 2 different places.
Mm-hmm. Or something. We'll see.
Or they'll have to fix one, send it back to you, then fix the other.
She said I might get a refurb, so I was just kind of hoping for that. That way, hopefully, it won't have a signal problem, it won't have a lock problem. It'll just be a new one, and I'll be okay with it.
Here's your chance. Ask if you can get the yellow one. So could you just send me a yellow instead?
I thought about it when I was on the phone with her. I should have. Hey, while you're at it, if you're gonna send me,
you guys got some refurbed single yellow Joy-Con that nobody wants.
Yeah, and it just so happens I really, really want a left. Have I explained to you why I really want a yellow left Joy-Con specifically?
No.
Because I grew up left-handed, so I was always acutely aware of like the fact that like the right-handed scissors, there was always a box full of red-handled scissors and like 3 or 4 green-handled scissors. I had to go for those. And just red is always the right. Red's always right and green's always left. So it irked me when it was red and blue for the Joy-Cons. It just bothered me. So now that I've got red and green and blue and pink sort of stands in for purple. Now I just want a yellow and an orange, and I'll have like the full color wheel. And if they ever come out with a purple one, I'm just gonna have to buy it and end up with an extra pink.
You've got the Lifesavers collection.
But right, it's a perfect rainbow.
Yeah, they really should just get in gear and kick out custom ones. $50 plus whatever the shipping and handling that they're going to make money off of.
That would kill me, though. That would kill me because then there'd be a special, You mean custom, but you don't mean custom.
Well,
you mean like
from Nintendo, just like not
like
super custom,
like the special 3DSs.
A selection. No, I mean like a selection where you can just go on and any kind of primary colors or basic colors. You can just get. If you want green, you can get green. If you want orange,
like
basic
or
stuff.
whatever. I got you.
Yeah. Maybe not even printed designs, just all solid.
They have that in Japan, right? That's people can just go on and select their colors they want when they order the system, at least. And
right, or at least they could back when they could get the system, or when they thought they were going to be able to get the system.
Well, here's the thing: I shouldn't have bought these gray ones because I got the blue and reds when they came out, and I had to have these. These pink and green ones are just great. But I know we were going to get into accessories next week, but I'm just worried about a year from now or 2 years from now. Maybe there'll be a Metroid set for Prime. Maybe there'll be a Zelda set for another eventual Zelda game. Maybe
Gold Joy-Con.
Yeah, exactly. How many of these friggin' things am I going to end up with? Because I ended up with so many of the stupid wheels.
I think they're willing to find out.
I had a buddy of mine that always gave me half-ass gifts for birthday and Christmas. So for a couple years, I was just giving him, here's an extra black Wiimote, man.
Yeah, I think that's what they're counting on, kind of, is the Joy-Con to be a cute little accessory that they can sell you over and over.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think, somebody speculated and drew up a bunch of cute little pictures of, actual differently shaped, like a little fishing reel and those kinds of things. And they would be stupid not. I mean, now that they know the Switch is taking off, they would be stupid not to look into some of those ideas. And they did. They originally talked about the Switch was going to be the center of this galaxy of accessories and whatever, right? They said that back in January. And they also mentioned that back in Iwata's era, they mentioned that the Switch was going to be kind of this rolling launch of products, and that the handheld was going to be the first component. So, I'm curious. We'll see. And with stuff that does the second screen gaming, like the Pac-Man Versus, I don't know, man. It almost seems like if they were going to go that route, though, they would have waited and put Splatoon out at that time, because it does suffer a little bit from the lack of the second screen. And I've adopted the second one now. I like it overall. I'm happy with it. But it's people. You know what? People don't notice the beacons. Does anybody notice that?
Yeah.
I've seen,
but there's not too many people using them either.
I've seen posts in my plaza that say, "Please use my beacons," with a little sad face.
Yeah.
Nobody uses them, and I think people don't think about them anymore, because you only bring up the map. I don't know. I've noticed you only bring up the map, when you're respawning, and usually you're going for people. I guess people just, I notice the beacons, but that's because I'm the one putting them down.
Yeah. And you have to physically use the motion controls to aim your little cursor on the screen to one of the beacons. You can't press up, down, left, right.
Oh, you know what? Maybe people are hotkeying it. I'm not. I'm using the motion controls to go. I still am. I've never touched the buttons to jump. I guess I should be doing that, and that's probably a little bit quicker.
I have recently tried the jump to home, which
I don't think it's that bad.
Open a map and press down. That takes way too long. So
X and down?
I've done it twice. Yeah, you have to open the map and then press down and then A, I guess, to jump. If somebody's rolling up on you and you're out of ink and you need to just jump back, yeah, that's just
wait. You have to press press accept afterwards. That's kind of lame. They need to fix that. It should just be
I'm pretty sure.
Open the map and a single button press. That sucks. But still not the same as just tapping the screen. It's right there.
Yep.
Bam, and it's always in the same place. I didn't even think about that. It's really just a button bouncing to home. Yeah, that's a good point, because it's always in the same place on the map. It's just like an extra button right there to go straight home.
Can't wait for him to release Star Fox Zero, where you have to toggle between shooting and steering.
Well said, man. That's a good one. That's yeah. They're just that one. They're gonna kick under the rug. Yeah. That one
they'll figure it out.
That one's gonna go into the vault. Wii U Classic. Yeah, that's going into the vault. That's coming out on the Wii U Classic in 20 years. Yeah. And they'll call it previously unreleased, because they won't want to admit they haven't released it.
They could totally do it as a plug and play. Just a gamepad with little composite jacks coming out of it.
Wow.
I love it.
All right. What else we were talking about?
Really, the only other thing I have on the list here is the new 2DS XL finally has a price, which is $149.99. A little cheaper than what we thought it would be.
Yeah, I still don't think it's in the sweet spot, though.
Nope.
There is a sweet spot, really, when you get the 2DS to 80, 120, 130.
It seems like $129.99 is where their handhelds become like in every child's hands. usually with a game.
Well, occasionally they'll drop the 3DS down to $179. It seems like a couple times a year it'll drop down there.
So I just mean,
I'm sure this one will drop.
I mean, historically, I think from about the GBA on, it would seem like, what did the GBA come out at? Does anyone remember? Wasn't it around $200?
I don't remember at all.
I don't either.
I think it was for some reason 169.
Maybe.
That comes into my head, but I don't know.
I just remember always seeing, when a system was sunsetting, not really sunsetting, but when the system was kind of in the middle of its life cycle, there were a lot of games out for it. Everybody was buying them. It always seemed like it was sitting around the 129 price. That one, and then the DS, and
didn't the 2DS launch it? Was it 129?
Yeah, and I think now that you mentioned
originally, and then occasionally it would go on sale for 100.
I think you're right. I think so. It seems like that's a price target, and I bet you what they're doing is they're starting it at 149, and then they'll very shortly, maybe around Christmas, you'll be seeing it all of a sudden drop into 129 with a game, and that'll be the option for people who either got the Super NES Classic and don't want to switch, or be kids.
I think that's what the market is right there, is for children.
The internet is telling me the Game Boy Advance launched at $100, so that is a sweet price.
Holy, really?
Yeah.
The original Game Boy launched at $89, wasn't it?
It seems like I never had the original Game Boy. I was kind of jealous, and then I got the Game Gear and put that away pretty quick.
Well, that's the thing about
all those batteries.
Yeah, the Game Gear was funny. The Game Gear was the thing that every Game Boy owner was jealous of, and the Game Gear owners all knew better. Right? Because it was always like, hey, why don't you break that thing out anymore, man? It's like, I don't want to. It sucks. But it was so pretty. But the games, there weren't as many games on it. They weren't as good. And yeah, it lasted like 4 or 6 hours versus the Game Boy's like, 30 or something.
Yeah, it ate batteries worse than that Super Scope 6 I have. Yeah, it looks like the internet has said 150 was the launch and then 99 was the SP. So.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Which is even more painful now because I had them both. And boy, that original version was just garbage. I mean, it was still a solid Game Boy, but it's like, yeah, that's back when you used to have to hook up. I'm waiting for the Switch to get one of those magnifying glasses with a light on it. And you remember when it basically looked like you were in the hospital traction when people would have a Game Boy and then you have to have all this crap clipped to it so you could actually see the screen?
I remember those. The light and the magnifying glass.
Yep.
You had to buy those accessory bundles to get that stuff.
Yeah, those days might be gone.
Might be.
I hope. Let's kickstart a Switch magnifying glass. Let's see what we can get done. But it'll just be a helmet with a huge magnifying glass visor so you can hold the Switch at different distances.
It's a full face shield that's a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
That's right. We'll make it half red and half blue. So
backwards compatible with all Nintendo handhelds.
There you go. That's the selling point.
Well, except for the 3DS, right? Because it won't work.
Yeah.
At least for the 3D.
Maybe. No, I don't know.
We'd have to make a second model.
Yeah.
No, you'd have to turn off the 3D, then you'd be fine.
That's right.
Yeah, which everyone's doing now with the 2DS.
It was terrible.
Know. So I think they're saying that sales have been fairly strong in Japan for the 2DS XL. I don't know. I don't see the need.
I don't see anyone that owns a 3DS going and buying a 2DS XL.
No, but I see a lot of people buying it for their kids. Remember, even long after the 3DS was out, like kids were carrying around DSs forever, right? Because I would see kids all the time and go, "Ooh, hopefully am I going to get a street pass?" And I'd kind of peek, and it's like, "No, that's just a DS. Crap,
Yep.
no street pass."
Yeah. I see it at a
Right.
price point where it's going to trick uneducated consumers, or uninformed, I guess, not uneducated. Gee, I'm so mean. Uninformed consumers into buying the wrong version.
2D and 3D is pretty straightforward.
Not to the parents just coming in, knows
Yeah.
nothing about the game. They're just going to say, this one's
See the
cheap.
clamshell, and he said he wanted the one that was the clamshell, not the one that wasn't.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, I think the average consumer at this point knows 3D. They understand 3D. So what's the difference between these two? Oh, this one's in 3D. That's pretty. I think people have figured that out. Whether the kid's going to want the 3D one and get the 2D one, maybe that's a different question. But I don't think it's going to be a consumer confusion thing per se.
I think it will be because you've got 2DS, 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS XL. You've got
The old
new
DS.
3DS.
Oh well, too many in the family. That's kind of that's a problem.
They're not
Well, I
going to
just
look
bought
at it
my
and say that one's 3D and this one's not. They're just going to say that one's cheaper. That's the one he's getting for Christmas, you know.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
and then there's those old. What about these old 3DSs? Are those, why are those on clearance? Oh, that's the old one. Well, what's new about the new one?
Yeah.
It's new. It's better.
Yeah.
There's some
I
games
just got my
that-
daughter a 2DS, and her mom was like, "Does this play 3DS games, or does it only play the old DS games?"
So yeah, in that regard, yeah, it's 2DS, old 3DS, old big 3DS, old small 3DS, new big 3DS, new small 3DS, new big 2DS. There is no small new 2DS.
No,
Which
there's
one
an old
plays
2DS.
what? Well, there's certain games that'll only play on the new ones.
Right.
But
Luckily,
not certain
those
yeah.
they haven't done a bunch of. I'm glad that they've kept that fairly limited.
Well,
because man,
but
that would be frustrating. Because they can never do a major release because parents will flip out when they buy the wrong one.
one thing that bugs the crap out of a friend of mine though is his old 2DS or 3DS, excuse me, cannot download Super NES Virtual Console titles.
Yeah.
Or here's the best part. As far as I can tell, I told him not to because it won't play them. But it certainly looks like he can just go into his eShop, pay the money, and download it if he wants.
It says works on new Nintendo 3DS only. It won't let you. So they did put a safeguard in there.
It says that, but did you actually try to? Because he was basically on the point, like he'd added the funds, but he hadn't actually bought the title yet. I was like, no, dude, don't do it. Because he was sitting on the couch.
I bet you it could handle it.
I'm betting it would have stopped him, but it's funny that it let him add the $7 or whatever it was, because he had added the cash for it.
But I'm sure
maybe
that
they've since
technologically
fixed
it can
was
handle
right
it.
after
Don't you
they
think?
came out. Yeah, no,
if they can run Genesis games through an emulator, they can run in 3D. They should be able to do it on a regular 3DS.
If the Nintendo Switch has 3 times the GPU power of the Wii U, it can do Bluetooth audio. It can do voice chat. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah. But if they had built Bluetooth into the machine, then the Joy-Con would have disconnected from the machine's Bluetooth.
Why?
Because that's an interference for the left Joy-Con, friend.
No, I don't buy it.
No, they connect via Bluetooth.
No, they do, and apparently there's a way to make them use them on your PC, which I had done with one of the old Wiimotes back in the day, and it was fun to mess around with, but not really practical. A mouse is still better.
So when I go to Super Mario World from my regular 3DS, instead of an option for purchase, it's grayed out down there and says only for new Nintendo 3DS. So it won't even let me get to the point of adding funds.
Oh wow. No, so this was I think it was when the first or second batch had come out. And I remember because he was laid up at the time, so he was just sitting on his couch surfing Amazon and surfing the eShop, and playing the crap out of Star Fox Zero, which he finished. And I'm never going to let him live that one down. But yeah,
proud.
yeah, no, and I had come by, and he totally was going to let him buy it. They must have since fixed it, because it really was just, within a couple weeks of them hitting the eShop in the first place.
Speaking of eShop, there's a sweet Kirby sale going on right now, where you can get the $7 3D classics for $5.24. Just passing those savings on to you.
Next time, I got to keep my eye out, because that's the only thing I would still pick up on there is a couple of the Sega ones.
Yeah, they're good. Did you
get
all the 3D NES classic ones?
No, I didn't. They just, and I even owned Urban Champion, which is why I did not have any interest in the 3D version. That game
I've never played that. I've never played that game.
It was terrible.
I never played it, but the reviews have kept me away.
That may be the one. I'm pretty sure I loaned that game to somebody, like in trade, and never wanted it back. I was like, oh, Legend of Cage, I'll keep this. This is fine. I didn't, I never really made much effort to get back in touch with that kid.
Yeah, some of those titles, I still wondered if anybody listening knows. Please tell me why pro wrestling can't just come out. Like, favorite
pro
of the
wrestling.
Black Box series.
Pro wrestling would be awesome.
Yeah, it's never come out. Some sort of rights issue or something.
Maybe WWE just owns the term pro wrestling now. I don't know. Or maybe some of the characters in there,
the likenesses are too close
with them. But they weren't. They were completely bizarre. Like there was a creature from the Black Lagoon, and there was Starman.
But even that could be. I mean, even that could be. First of all, there's a movie with Jeff Bridges called Starman. There's the creature from the Black Lagoon is a thing, and Universal has been to court before. No, he was. Yeah, I forget his name. I know
you're right.
Like
maybe it's Starman.
But he is Gilman. Yeah.
Maybe Starman's the problem.
Well, no, I'm just saying that, and there's a Hulk Hogan ripoff in it. But yeah, that game is.
Hulk
I mean,
shut him down.
And Nintendo went at it once over King Kong, so maybe they were just trying, like, hey, let's not push this creature from the Black Lagoon much further.
I guess. I miss that game though. That was a fabulous, and you know what? The Data East Tag Team Wrestling, I also played the crap out of. That one was a lot of fun.
I mean, I don't know how many black box games for Nintendo haven't been, other than like Popeye, which is a licensed. I don't know how many of those, and Gyromite, I guess, haven't shown up on a virtual console in some way. I made a Rob Amiibo.
I remember playing the crap out of a Popeye arcade game. Sorry, I was talking over you, Mo. What were you saying again?
Oh, no. I said they should have made the Rob Amiibo compatible with a virtual console Gyromite in some way.
That would have been cool.
Oh. But yeah, Popeye, that was a good one. I've got it for Nintendo. I used to play that on Commodore 64. But that's one of the few ones. Pro Wrestling is a Nintendo title. There's no licensing. Get it out there, Nintendo. Do something. Fix it.
Oh, apparently, by the way, I some little historical tidbit. Apparently, Popeye was originally what Donkey Kong was going to be. That was going to be Popeye saving olive oil from Bluto, and it was they couldn't get the license, so it became Donkey Kong. And then later they did get because they made a lot of money on their games, and then later they got the license for Popeye. So they made
and Popeye is very similar to Donkey Kong.
It is ultimately, yeah. You climb
the
up
layouts.
and you catch, exactly. You climb up and you get olive oil at the top.
And I think it's like 3 stages that just repeat.
But
like Donkey Kong was.
Yeah, like all of those games were back then. But right, Donkey Kong since birth of Mario was the stand-in for Popeye. They
Yeah,
couldn't get
Jumpman.
they couldn't get the star. Yeah, exactly. They couldn't get the star, so they got some unknown and just threw him in the role, and he wowed everybody.
Yeah,
And
last
became a
week
household name.
I played Donkey Kong in an actual arcade that had an old one. I only beat the first level and then got killed.
Hey, Namco Museum. On that note, Nintendo. I think Nintendo's going to follow this pattern. Namco Museum has a lot of neat, leaderboard stuff and whatever. And I'd like to see Nintendo really kind of take that up a notch, and I think they totally can. But damn it, just do voice chat on the console for God's sakes, and give me Bluetooth headset. Come on.
I want Ms. Pac-Man with voice chat.
Well, you know what?
That's missing from this collection, isn't it?
It is.
There's no Ms. Pac-Man. It doesn't have pole position either. Which
Well,
the Game Boy Advance had.
Pole position was Atari, wasn't it?
No, it was on Namco Museum before, and on the
Oh.
Game Boy Advance
I don't
version,
know,
and I
maybe-
think also on the
Maybe it's a
GameCube.
co-license, or maybe they bought it. But Ms. Pac-Man, there was a weird historical thing with Ms. Pac-Man as well. Apparently, Ms. Pac-Man was never developed by Namco. It was an unlicensed spin-off or an unlicensed sequel by like Bally Midway or whatever, some American company that was distributing it over
Yeah,
here.
it was another company.
Yeah, so there were all.
And they just said, hey, we own the copyright.
Yeah. So we own the copyright over here, and there was a big legal battle about the overseas copyright stuff. So they made all these different unlicensed versions. I played this one really weird Baby Pac-Man that was half pinball game. Did anyone ever see that one?
I think I remember something about a Baby Pac-Man or Junior Pac-Man or something on
Pac-Man Jr.
Commodore 64. Yeah.
Well, this was Baby Pac-Man, and every so often you'd be playing through like sort of a Pac-Man level, but every so often a certain tunnel would like open up, or I think you had to do something to open it up. When you opened it up and you went into the tunnel, a ball would come out, and like the bottom half of the machine was a miniature pinball machine. So a ball would drop out like when you went through the tunnel, and you'd play pinball for a while until you lost the ball, and then when you lost the ball, you'd drop back into the game. It was bizarre.
Oh, yeah. I think
I'd
I
have
do
to-
remember that. The bottom was pinball and the top was a screen.
Yeah, it was the weirdest cabinet ever. It
Yeah.
looked like a a weird little pachinko machine with a screen on it, which at the time is even weirder than you would think now. It was basically kind of looked like an arcade cabinet with a small pinball machine sticking out where the sticks and stuff would be.
Well, all those arcade companies were at one point, like Bally Midway, are known for arcade pinball games, so it would make sense.
They were the natural inheritors of the video game market when was all the pinball companies. Yeah.
Makes sense. We don't have a good Switch pinball yet.
Yeah, and with the vertical screen thing. Oh, and let me complain about that a little bit. The vertical screen thing on the Namco Museum. The fact that it doesn't. Once you snap the Joy-Con on, you can't change the controls 90 degrees. So you can't hold it like a Game Boy and play Pac-Man in vertical screen. You have to set it up on a stand and hold the Joy-Con in your hands, or have a rotatable monitor, which I used to have and don't have anymore.
And good luck finding a stand that'll allow you to display it that way.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I'd have to make
over.
something. Yeah. Well, actually, you mean for the Switch itself?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? There was some phone stand that said, "Hey, this is a good Switch stand," and it's got the little slot at the bottom for the cable. The problem is it's metal, and unless you put something soft over the back, it left like scrape marks on the back of my Switch. So I stopped using it, but it actually is perfect for setting the Switch upright because I tried it the other day and played it. It was pretty good. But let me just hold the stupid thing like a Game Boy. Come on. I hope they patch that in.
There will at some point, but I don't know. Is it comfortable? Isn't the weight too much to be holding it that way?
You know what?
You want to be able to hold it.
if you think about the old Game Boy, like the original OG, it wasn't particularly better weighted. The batteries, yeah, were down at the bottom where you held it, but otherwise it's still a bulky, kind of heavy unit. For little kid hands, you know. So as an adult, I mean, I haven't sat and played with it that way for any, well, at all, because there's nothing to play that way. But I've sat and held it that way just to see if it would work, and I think I could do this for at least a good 20 minutes for a Pac-Man game or a couple, you know. This is totally doable, especially if I'm kind of, you know, sitting back in my chair and I can just kind of rest it against my knee or whatever, right? If I'm sitting with my leg up. There's ways that I could kind of sit and hold this for an extended period of time, sitting up in bed or something, and it wouldn't be bad. And a game like Pac-Man, I can just steady it with my other hand. There's no buttons in Pac-Man. It's just a stick, right?
Yeah.
I could totally hold it in one hand and just sit and use the stick in the other.
So you're talking about doing this with the Joy-Cons attached, right?
Yeah, exactly what I'm
that
talking
would possibly put pressure on the Joy-Con connection? Is maybe why they avoided it?
You know what? No, because here's the thing. You can't hold it by the Joy-Con. You really have to put your fingers up and hold. It's too heavy to just hold it by the Joy-Con. It's too awkward. The weight balance is way off. So like for me, I have to put, it's kind of almost like a spot grip on the back, right? Where I've got my forefinger and my middle finger kind of held up like a basket holding the thing. If that makes any sense.
Yes. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I've confirmed that the switch holder that Hori makes does work in the upright position like that. As crazy as it looks.
Yeah, and thanks for distracting us all with the picture.
It's something though. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't found a lot of uses for tabletops still. Like I like the idea of it. They're gonna have to come up with experiences like that to make me use my stand.
Yeah, you know what? There's something, having the little thing sitting up on this little stand I have and playing it somehow feels like a little arcade cabinet to me. I gotta say, it is kind of neat. So I'll give it that.
It could be reminiscent of those little mini cabinets they used to have for Donkey Kong and Pac-Man that you'd put like the 4C batteries into.
I had the Pac-Man one.
I had Donkey Kong.
I had a friend who had the Donkey Kong. They were both good. For like they were the peak of that LCD technology for those games.
I remember when those Tiger handhelds came out, they didn't seem as awesome because they weren't in color.
Yeah, they just weren't the same. Those were awesome. I wish I still had mine. Wish I'd been, you know, a wise enough kid at the time to keep that in good shape because that thing was spectacular. My mother played the living crap out of that thing.
I bet you eBay's got your back for a price.
Yeah, for a high price. You guys have any idea what we're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah.
Back
just little replicas of little tiny arcade cabinets that you'd put like 4C batteries in, and they'd have a backlit color version of a game.
But it was
of the day
style. You remember those
Frogger?
Those little portable. Yeah, there was a Frogger one. There was an old style little portable. They like a football and a baseball. There were a few of those little handheld games.
Just had the
back
dots.
In the day. They were just blinking lights, effectively.
Yeah.
You know, the baseball diamond or the football stadium or whatever was just literally painted on the plastic over the screen. And yeah, it was effectively a very complicated version of one of those, where it was basically a screen full of little Pac-Man or a screen full of little Mario guys, like a really complex version of an old style LCD clock. That, you know, everything is an 8, but you can make every number out of that 8, right?
Right.
It was basically that, but a video game. And
Just the
it was,
backlight moved, basically.
yeah, it was the weirdest thing ever. Yeah, it's hard to really even describe how this works to somebody who hasn't seen one and didn't grow up in that era.
Isn't that kind of like Game & Watch? Am I thinking right?
Oh yeah, it's effectively the same thing. Where like the guy that's catching the hammers or whatever,
Yeah.
like
Right.
you can
It's
see
like
it.
if Game & Watch had a
Go
kid with Light Bright. If Game & Watch had a kid with Light Bright, that's basically what it is.
That's a great description of what it is. And it had a little the little dome over it was like the arcade cabinet cover. So right, it was a little shade so that you could see it better.
So you could see the screen, yeah.
Yeah, it had the little glowing lights, and yeah. I think I took mine in the shower.
We'll never be
and
that
ruined it.
tickled
I
by
was a really
technology
dumb kid.
again. Those aha moments are gone.
Yeah, that was the last of that analog era, really. Right? I mean, it was computerized. It was an electronic game, but it was kind of the end of that pre-digital era. That it was like it was still a mechanical mindset for electronics.
We started with that, and now we've got a 720p HD screen on the Switch that takes up about probably less room, really.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're about the same.
I'm staring at it, and maybe I'm getting old, but I can't see any. I can't see any pixels. Like my phone is 1080p. It's ever so slightly smaller screen, not very much smaller, and it's the higher res. I don't know that I can really tell a difference.
Once
I guess
you're
I
that small,
can.
you really don't.
I guess I can because I can still see the little shimmers on edges because of the lack of anti-aliasing, you know, as something moves, you know what I'm talking about? The edges that aren't quite smooth.
I think the
so
overall reception is it's fine. It says about the Switch's screen, it's fine. The size, it's good.
It's good. It's not. No, Nintendo hasn't blown us away with specs since the N64, right?
Sad to say that was.
And they blew
mind-blowing
us away
specs.
with, or I'm sorry, with the GameCube. My apologies. But
that's true.
Nintendo technology always is like great, except for this one horrible thing, right? And we've talked about it many times before. The cartridges on the 64, the mini discs on the GameCube. What hurt them the worst on the GameCube was not supporting DVDs. That was what took Sony off. Was, hey, this is a DVD player too. That was what gave the PlayStation the foothold it had and hurt them so bad. Or PS2, that is, in the GameCube era.
And there's some that say the cartridges are going to hurt the Switch.
I don't think it will.
Just
It's an annoyance
more.
already. It's an annoyance. Well, I think that was just hype. For me as a consumer, the cartridges are an annoyance, but a necessary one because they're 20% cheaper everywhere. Well, Best Buy and Amazon, if you have the deal. Sorry for those that don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they appealed. That's one thing that really appeals to our generation too, is to have a physical cartridge. Like the thing that's interesting to me about that is when you think about these nostalgia systems, you've got the NES, you've got Super NES, but like GameCube, discs do disintegrate or deteriorate over time. It'd be awesome if they disintegrated.
So do circuits,
and then you've
but
got,
not as quick.
You've got scratches and things like that. But yeah, they last a little bit longer. And I wonder if that, even though this is just a flash cart, I wonder if these will hold up any better than discs. Because I don't see kids that are going to be getting nostalgic for PS3 games in 30 years.
No.
And if they could, there's not going to be any kind of disc reader that will read them unless
Oh, but there will
at
be
some
ROMs.
point somebody.
There will be
That's true.
downloadable versions.
There will be ROMs.
Speaking though from our generation, I don't see it, man. I'd rather have downloads of all this stuff. I'd rather not. Certain things, I like the fact that cartridges are available, and I would buy certain things on cartridge specifically. Zelda, yes. The Mario game, yes. The rest of these, I'm looking at my collection. The rest of these, I would have bought digitally if it were the same price. Because they're multiplayer. There's something like I would play ARMS more if it were just on the system and I didn't have to pull out Splatoon for it. I'd mess around with ARMS here and there, or pull out whatever's in there for it.
It's nice having some things digital. Like I said, I don't mind it if it's a game that's going to be worthless to resell. Like a Splatoon, eventually they're going to shut down the servers and no one can play Splatoon. And people probably won't want the disc just for the single-player mode. So those kind of games I can see buying digitally if it mainly lives online. But for other stuff, I prefer to have a physical copy just because I like to have something I can hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Mario Kart, you could still bust out Mario Kart many years from now and play it locally and have fun. Although for me, right, the games that I want to have on and accessible are the games that people might want to just say, hey, you got Mario Kart on that thing? Yes, let's play it.
It's got a satisfying enough single player too.
Yeah, no, it does, but I mean, you know what I mean? I just want it readily accessible at all times.
Yeah, you want something you can just go without having to dig in your pocket or flip something out or have to worry about losing something. You just got it, it's always with you.
When I would bring the Wii U on Thanksgiving, it was just great. But I never had to worry about bringing discs. Because I had done the digital, whatever the thing was we got for buying the Pro
Deluxe
version.
digital promotion.
The Deluxe digital promotion. So we got the cash back for downloading stuff. So I downloaded everything, a lot of stuff for the Wii U, as opposed to buying it or buying it physical. So Mario Kart and whatever, it was just great because I could bring it over and the cousins would be like, what you got on it? There it is. There you go. What do you want to play? Smash, Mario Kart. You want to play one of these 5 other fighting games, half of which were the old Street Fighters or whatever. But you know what I mean? It was just like, I just have ass loads of games, like multiplayer games on the Wii U, and I still I'm still not fully convinced this year I'm going to bring the Switch instead because Switch doesn't have Smash yet. There's still way more random multiplayer stuff on my Wii U, and it's all downloaded. It's all just ready to go, and the little tablet controller, they can just tap through it and find something and play. So
you can bring them both.
No. And the baby? No, thanks.
Yeah. Bring one of your 5 docks.
Yeah, that's another thing, man, is I know they're going to release, my prediction. And are we out of topics?
Yes.
Okay. I think we were out of topics. We were out of topics like a half hour ago, weren't we?
Yes. But it's fine. That's how it always goes. Just roll with whatever, man.
My prediction is that they're going to release some kind of Switch, upgraded version of the Switch in 2 to 3 years. And that I will be pissed I bought an extra official dock plus the Nyko, off-brand dock. Because I'm going to end up with another dock I won't know what to do with. I almost wish I just bought.
Though.
So what?
Gold Joy-Con though.
It better come with gold Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'll buy it. Or I'm sure they'll sell a bear version to those of us that, right? Those of us who are already on the bandwagon and bought the beta back in March.
Bear.
Oh, can I mention, and maybe Maybe it happens over time. I'll have to give a report later. But the green and pink Joy-Cons, they just lock onto this Switch like my old ones do not at all. Like they don't wiggle at all. They're just super tight.
So you think they're gonna wear then?
I don't know.
Over time, the Joy-Cons probably just wear.
I'm wondering because I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that the launch ones are just not quite up to this. I you know what I mean? They had a lot of problems with the launch ones, and they probably started cracking the whip on whoever produces them. And I think they're probably up to a better spec now.
Maybe it's still plastic on metal, so
yeah. So that is what
I
it
can
is.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note,
maybe they'll do a deluxe metal one someday.
They'll do. They're going to do some. They'll do a Joy-Con Motion Plus at some point.
Yeah.
They have to.
I wonder if that version will have an IR sensor still.
I hope one of them. I hope they do a version with a GPS, man. Like how Pokemon Go was all the rage, and then this thing's got no camera and no GPS, so there ain't no AR coming out of this thing. Like that seems like a dumb oversight. But again, maybe they're planning on building custom Joy-Cons with all that stuff. Sorry, go ahead, Mom.
What if Nintendo announces at E3 next year that they've partnered with Android, and now you'll have the fully featured Android shop as well as the Nintendo eShop? You can use your Nintendo Switch app on your Nintendo Switch.
I would have to change my pants.
I love that.
They solve the problem of all the cords by just putting the app on the Switch. And then you just have to use a headset that had a microphone on.
You know what? Even that would make more sense than whatever they're going to ultimately end up doing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure it won't be as awesome as that, though. But it'll be. I could see them doing something. They could partner with somebody. I hope they tell us. Boy, it's been a long time since they've told us anything about that. Also, Pikmin is out, and I've played it for about 2 hours, and it's slow. It's like everything takes a long time. Like you blow a whistle, and then 5 seconds later, some Pikmin pop out of like a bush, and it's just like, come on! Like the game's pace is so slow that's the thing I don't like about it. It's a cute little mobile Pikmin game, or what should have been mobile.
Maybe it's meant to be relaxing.
It's not. It's just like, come on, hurry up, move. So that's one thing that in the other Pikmin games, it's like you throw a Pikmin and it responds pretty quickly and does what it's supposed to do. It seems like they put way too many little animations into this one so that it draws everything out. But that's my review. I give it a sideways thumb. It's neither up nor down.
It's just okay.
Yeah, if you like Pikmin, go ahead. All right, if you love Pikmin, go ahead. If you like Pikmin, probably pass. It's eh. That's my official review. I give it eh.
Is it very much from the demo that we got?
Longer versions of that. It's like it's kind of got a little bit of the Chibi Robo in it, and that each stage has 3 items to collect.
Okay.
So it's like you can just kind of replay the stage until you find where the little hidden thing is that takes you to the item that you missed. But I mean, it's not super charming. It is what it is. If you're already familiar with Pikmin, it's not bad, but it reminds me of like a mobile game or a much smaller game. It's not the same type of game, but it's interesting. They could do a good Pikmin in this style, I bet.
Yeah,
If you
definitely.
like Chibi Robo, maybe this is for you. Z loves that game.
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
So you might like Pikmin if you just like those games where you go through a level and try to collect items. It's got a really bizarre mode to it where in between your actual levels, there's like this park called Pikmin Park or something like that where you assign like virtual Pikmin to search an area, and then like after you play a level or two, it'll be like your Pikmin found something in Pikmin Park. Playing anything, it's like a game of Risk where you're just moving your armies to different territories to search. I just thought it was a bizarre inclusion in the game to have like a sub game going on at the same time that you really don't have much of a outcome to. Like it's pretty automatic. There's no strategy.
It almost seems like it was meant for something else, perhaps.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of out of place, but the game's menus are like one of those old like UN Squadron ones where you see the path of like 3 different maps, and then there's like a blinking icon that's moving. It's like one of the boss levels. It's like that. Like it's a bizarre little branching path thing. With unlockable amiibo goods trapped behind an amiibo I can't get.
What does the Olimar amiibo bring you?
What else? He gave me an Olimar amiibo in the game. That they call something statuette or something.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't see that one coming.
Nope.
Have you scanned any other amiibo into it?
It's. I tried scanning the Guardian for fun, and it says like this. It says I don't know what that was, but it gave you 10 sparklinium or whatever it is. Sparklium. It's the fuel in this game that you're trying to collect.
Oh.
And I scanned my Little Mac amiibo, and it did the same thing. So, and I tried scanning a Mario, and it just did the same thing as well. So I'll have to look up somewhere and see what series of amiibo are actually compatible, because it looks like you could get the amiibo of a bunch of different amiibo. Like there's a whole treasure level, and I could see that just collecting amiibo in the game. It's like a weird meta game.
They use Nook from Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Oh, is that in there?
Yeah.
I'll scan that one. We'll see what it does. But yeah, it's weird amiibo. I guess I feel like they don't know what to do with amiibo still.
Yeah, they don't. They just don't know.
There's no Street Pass functionality as far as I know.
Everyone carries around their amiibo theme.
They could have given you like 10 Pikmin for every Street Pass or something.
That's true.
Have you grow your, they could have done something. Care about certain features.
The park that you're describing, it sounds like it could have very well been part of a Street Pass feature.
Yeah, I mean the Smash Brothers, which is like one of their huge games, just has like like a game of Pogs.
It really is.
or I don't know. It's like sumo Pogs.
It's like Star Fox Guard was totally unrelated and just crammed into the Star Fox game. Yeah, they just, hey, we got this little stupid idea kicking around in the lab. Let's make a game out of it. Let's make a side game out of it.
Like they're coins that are sumo wrestlers that try to knock each other out of the ring.
Speaking of amiibo, I was just going to ask you about the amiibo. Did we talk about the Samus Returns amiibo and the lock content behind that?
No.
We touched on, I think, a little bit of it. That I just mentioned that it was locking content, but it's, for the most part, to me, it's not content I care about.
Same here.
I don't care about a hard mode. I'm probably not really going to ever do sound test or look through your art. I might look through it once.
Yeah, no, I think that's why we just kind of glossed over it, because I think we both were just like, meh. Next topic.
Yeah. Well, Amiibos, like I said, they struggle so much to know how they even want to use Amiibo. Where they're just like, what's something for Amiibo to do? It's not like, here's something cool we could do with Amiibo. It's like, hey, what can we do with Amiibo for this? We have to include it somehow.
Right.
That's how Street Pass was for a long time, though. Or I guess probably arguably always. I can't think of what games use it great.
Well, Street Pass found its stride right with
Mii Plaza.
When they updated the Mii Plaza to do it. Because remember, Find Me, did that launch with it, or did that come out later? Who got a 3DS at launch?
That was a launch title, wasn't it, when they first started Street Pass?
Was it at their
I
launch?
thought
'Cause
it
I
was
got it about
that and puzzles or the
Yeah.
It was-
puzzle whatever.
Puzzle
yeah.
Swap.
Yeah.
I got it a little late, but it had it when I got it. And that was already cool enough, honestly. But yeah, when they expanded it, that to me blew it wide open. That's when all my friends got into it. Like it wasn't until the Haunted Mansion one or one of the others that my friends really cared. Otherwise, they'd occasionally mess around with it. Oh, hey, I got a street pass. I'll go play Find Me or something. But they didn't pay much attention until those later ones came out. All of us, I'm sure, had beaten Find Me by the time those came out, right? Gotten every hat, right? Yeah, because we're obsessive.
Yeah,
and had all the puzzles and all that stuff. So yeah, that was a nice breath of fresh air to it. But I think Nintendo still hasn't a story out of the fact that these relays are going away, and there's just fewer and fewer street passes out there. But I think they've quietly kind of started backing away from street pass stuff.
Yeah, I think so too.
Either the
Maybe it's
partnership
just
contracts ended or something.
or maybe it's yet another avenue for child molesters to attack children. Right.
Could be.
Actual
know.
physical
Maybe.
meetups is Nintendo's probably just gun shy of that in general now.
I keep seeing that same sexy me every time I go to Barnes and Noble. I'm gonna find her.
you haven't figured out who it is yet.
No, I was just kidding. That was my example of the pedos. I'm just too good of an actor.
No, but Barnes and Noble would be the wrong place. It'd be like at Toys R Us.
Yeah. McDonald's Playland. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting thing that you'll probably not see anything like that from Nintendo again. A Street Pass type of thing.
That'll be how we remember the 3DS.
Yeah, it's a unique thing to have some kind of physical connection or interaction like that on a system.
3DS can also lay claim to very early AR.
It's true.
There's and the glasses free 3D thing is still unique. Love it or hate it, and I love it. Like that to me is still a really cool thing that they pulled off and made a consumer product out of and pushed it for 5-6 years.
It's neat. I'm wondering, what do you think the Switch's legacy is going to be?
Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what everyone's going to remember.
I don't know. Go ahead. Oh, I thought that was Max.
Oh.
So did I.
I thought everyone's gonna remember Joy-Cons not working.
Yeah, well, for a little while. Hopefully that doesn't stick around. Hopefully that's not what defines it.
Yeah, a bumpy launch is what it is. I don't think that'll. Hopefully, I don't think that'll haunt it for too long. But it'll be one of those things that people talk about, like the Red Ring of Death with the Xbox. It'll be one of those footnotes of the Switch, definitely. In the age of Wiki. But I don't know, man. Its legacy is yet to be defined. I think Nintendo hasn't figured out what its legacy is going to be yet. I think it'll be zeitgeist. If this thing continues to sell well and takes off as well as people are now hoping, then there's going to be lots of stuff for it, and there will be a few things, a few big games that will be, defining games on the system. But I don't know if it'll be defined though as a console or as a handheld or by something else. Like, will we see hordes of people in a park all playing Splatoon or something? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be the kind of external event that they want it to be. But, you know, I think there'll be little conventions. I think you'll be able to take it and get some kind of downloadable goodie from going to Universal Studios eventually. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Like I said, there's a long time left to go. So
It's true. We've got till 2020
still
to
waiting
get to Universal, right?
yeah, I'm waiting for Capcom to release that Disney Afternoon. Come on,
Oh,
just
yes.
release it. I mean, that's would make so much sense on that system. Come on, guys. Yeah, I heard Capcom's starting to put more resources into Switch, so hopefully they'll do some of the easy stuff like that.
And hopefully
Yeah,
that will continue.
everyone's noticing it. It's fun to be an early adopter on something that ends up being a hit, right?
Right.
That people are still having a hard time finding. But I don't know. On the flip side, where the hell are all my virtual console titles I paid twice for? You know, what is this? What is this phone business? Come on. You know. So it is what it is.
It's got
I have
growing
yet another
pains.
flaky Joy-Con.
Anyway, I think we're sufficiently for the evening.
Yep. I think it's time to wrap it up. Anyone have any closing thoughts?
I think it was time to wrap it up a while ago.
Probably.
That's what makes
We'll
it
see.
special. This is bonus
I think-
content.
I think you were yes. This is the extended version. Yeah, I think you had commented about being out of topics about halfway ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've had good discussion since, so it's all good.
So that's what we do. If we didn't get off track, this wouldn't be that show.
That's right.
Always entertaining to talk to you guys.
Same here.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
And
go ahead, Mo.
if you know what's up with that pro wrestling, let me know. Everybody, I'm serious. I want that pro
That's right.
wrestling.
And that brings us to this point. You can always catch up with us here on YouTube or on Twitter or on Stitcher and on iTunes. So if anyone is listening on any of those platforms and you know about pro wrestling, send Mo a link. He needs the info.
Holler
I
at
need
your
to-
boy.
I need to get an account on Twit.
Okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yep, thanks for tuning in.
Good night.
Night, everybody.